I'm preparing a true classic of the Belgian kitchen, tomato filled with grey shrimp. This is an elegant, refreshing dish built around the North Sea grey shrimp. In Belgium, we have a deep appreciation for these tiny shrimp. In the coastal town of Oostduinkerke, they are still traditionally caught on horseback, a practice so unique it's recognized by UNESCO. I bought 500 grams of whole North Sea grey shrimp. These shrimp are caught at sea and directly boiled in seawater on board the ship. When it comes to peeling, they are much easier to handle the fresher and colder they are. The best technique is to hold the tail, push the head towards the tail and gently crack the shell and then carefully pull the meat out. Because mine are from the supermarket and not fresh off the boat from a Belgian coastal fish market, they peel a bit harder. Honestly, I recommend just buying the peeled shrimp to save time, but I wanted to keep the shrimp heads to make a rich bisque later. It took me about 45 minutes of work to peel this 500 gram batch, and you lose about 2/3 of the weight in the process. If you want to end up with 500 grams of peeled shrimp, you would need to buy 1.5 kilograms of whole shrimp to start. With the shrimp peeled, I place my shrimp heads back into the box and freeze them for later. Next, I'm going to prepare my sauce, a classic cocktail sauce. For this, I start with my standard recipe for Belgian mayonnaise. My standard recipe for mayonnaise is simple. For every 250 ml of a neutral vegetable oil, I use 1 whole egg, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a squeeze of lemon juice, and salt and white pepper to taste. I gently pour in the oil, and using an immersion blender, I place it firmly at the bottom over my egg and start mixing. I slowly raise the blender only once the emulsion starts to form and keep mixing until everything is incorporated into a thick, creamy mayonnaise. To turn this into a cocktail sauce, I take a portion of my mayonnaise and add a pinch of cayenne pepper and an optional splash of whiskey. To this, I add about an equal amount of ketchup and mix everything together. If you find the taste and color a bit too light, you can add a bit more ketchup. Adjust this entirely to your own taste. Traditionally, you would also fold some whipped cream into a cocktail sauce to make it lighter, but I find this dulls the flavor quite a bit. I prefer a more intense taste, so I leave the cream out. For the tomatoes, I'm using 3 beef tomatoes, as they are beautifully in season right now. First, I'm going to émonder the tomatoes. This is a classic technique to easily remove the skin from the tomatoes. I make 2 shallow crosses on opposite side of each tomato. I bring a pot of water to a boil and dunk the tomatoes in. Depending on how ripe a tomato is, they only need to be in the boiling water for a few seconds or up to 20 seconds if you're using slightly unripe, out of season tomatoes. After this short hot bath, I immediately shunk them in ice water to stop the cooking process. This allows you to easily peel the skin right off. Next, I remove the top of the tomatoes by going around the stem with a paring knife. Using my knife, a spoon, and my fingers, I carefully hollow out the tomatoes, making sure to keep the outer wall completely intact. With the tomatoes now ready, I take my peeled shrimp and mix in the cocktail sauce. I just want the shrimp lightly coated. They do not need to swim in the sauce. Time to dress. With a spoon, I generously fill my hollow tomatoes, piling the shrimp slightly over the top. I place them on a plate alongside some fresh lemon slices. And place a few parsley leaves on top for a vibrant finish. And there you have it, Tomaat au crevette, a simple, honest dish that perfectly captures the spirit of our Belgian food culture. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more Belgian classic recipes, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy!